The NFL is trying to screw the Raiders again. My name is Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I'm going to tell you how the Las Vegas Raiders got screwed by the NFL, but did John Spytek and Pete Carroll know it's coming? Are they proving yet again that they're playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers? The reason why I wanted to be able to talk about this show is obviously the Raiders and all NFL teams had their schedule released this week. One of the things that I just saw that I wanted to take a little bit of a deeper dive in is something that is called net rest edge. Essentially, if you don't know what it is, here's the definition. Net rest edge is a measure of the total days of extra rest a team has compared to their opponents over the course of the season. While it may seem insignificant, it's a factor that can't be ignored. And I wanted to be able to provide an example of this. Again, this is a definition from Warren Sharp, who I think is one of the smartest minds in NFL media and NFL content creator worlds out there. So as an example of rest edge, if the Chiefs have a full 7-day bye week ahead of their game versus the Raiders, and the Raiders play on Monday Night Football and are on a short week, the Chiefs have a rest edge of plus 8 days before their game against the Raiders. Conversely, the Raiders have a rest edge of minus 8 days. So the reason why I wanted to make this video is because every Raider fan knows that the NFL seemingly always is trying to screw over the silver and black. And as soon as I found out that the Las Vegas Raiders had the worst rest edge in the entire league in 2025, I said I knew I had to go out and talk about it. So the fact that we are minus 19, okay? Minus 19 rest days. On top of that, we are the only team in the NFL that has only 1 plus rest day, and we have 6 negative rest days. I'm going to break down what exactly this looks like here on today's show because I know that I've never done this show before, so please give me some time to go through it. But coming up here, I'm going to go through all the net rest days for every single team in 2025. But first, a word from our sponsor. Raider Nation, huge shout out to Temu for hooking up the nation with this special promotion. They are offering their 2nd anniversary promotion campaign, and for anyone who still hasn't downloaded the Temu app, you have the opportunity to get $100 cash. All you have to do is go download the Temu app and search your code DWF3344 in the app. You will see the Win Cash promotion page. Discount only applies to app new users with the qualifying orders. This promotion is open to anyone who hasn't downloaded the Temu app. If that's you, sprint to the App Store and take advantage of this special promotion. Now, a lot of the things that you're seeing up on screen are some of the things that I've gotten for myself and, a bed for Alex and my dog Chuck. So go download the Temu app, search your code DWF3344 in the Temu app. That's code DWF3344 in the Temu app. You will see the Win Cash promotion page when you use our code. Discount only applies to app new users with qualifying orders. Huge shout out again to Temu for hooking up the nation. For anybody out there, I'm going to be able to put these links down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Raider Nation, huge shout out to rest days of 2025 for all 32 NFL teams. Because I understand this. If you've never heard of net rest days, I'm just now kind of learning about it. It is a new metric that Warren Sharp has just started to cover just because of the significance of certain teams having more rest days than other teams. So the team this season that has the most rest days between is the Detroit Lions with plus 13. The Miami Dolphins are in there at plus 11. But one of the things that I really also wanted to take a deeper dive into is the NFL cares about making money. And a lot of times you're seeing some of these top teams get some of these extra rest days simply because they're getting primetime games. So when you get a primetime game, you do have the opportunity to get a little bit more rest time, which sometimes is the factor, sometimes it's not the factor. But look at a team like the Chiefs. They're up there in the pluses. Then the lower and lower that it gets, I do think that you start to see some teams that don't get as many primetime games. There's obviously outliers in there like the Commanders. They're at a minus 13. The Saints have a few, honestly, really bad stretches of games as well. But look at the team that is in by far the last. We're talking about the next close team is the Saints at minus 14. That means the Raiders are at minus 19. There's not a team at minus 18. There's not a team at minus 17. My point is the more and more that I start to cover the Raiders, and I know I am a new Raiders fan, and I know a lot of y'all are like, dude, we've known this for years, man. It's been happening since Al Davis was alive. But when I really start to sit back and I see year in and year out how often Roger Goodell in the NFL tries to give the Raiders a big old bird, it does really blow my mind. What I want you guys to do, though, is hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. Why? It's 100% free to watch this show, and I promise you will become a smarter Raiders fan tuning into the Raiders Report every single day. Let's go to the next thing that I want to look at here on today's show about why I think the NFL is screwing the Raiders. I want to look at the Raiders' schedule, and I want to show you where they are for their rest days, because you're literally going to laugh out loud when you see the team that we play that we have a advantage against. So the first 4 games, technically we are -2 against the Chargers for Monday Night Football. Chargers get 2 extra rest days. For the Commanders, the Washington Commanders get 4 extra rest days for our Week 3 matchup. Bears, Patriots, 0-0, even up there. Then Week 5, Week 6, Week 7, all 0-0-0, Week 8 bye. One of the other studies that Warren Sharp tried to do is he also tried to break down like the relevance of byes, and he is saying that it really doesn't matter where your bye week is, essentially. What's more important is this net rest days from Week 9 to Week 13. So you're telling me both times that we play the Chargers, we're at a disadvantage. Browns, sure, it is what it is. I actually did not anticipate this was going to be -3, so this means that the Dallas Cowboys are they have a bye week somewhere in that realm, because for the Raiders, remember, we're playing the Broncos on Thursday Night Football, and then we don't play until Monday night. So even though I thought that this was going to be a large rest period for the Raiders, and it is a large rest period for the Raiders, because the Cowboys have their bye-in here, they get still 3 extra days to prepare for the Las Vegas Raiders. And then Week 14 to Week 18, the only game that we have a plus advantage, and it's 1 day on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs, which, quite frankly, I think is the hardest game on our roster. Broncos, Texans, Giants, and then, the final game of the season against the Kansas City Chiefs. They get 3 extra days to prepare before going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. So I just wanted to show y'all the AFC West net rest days. Chargers are +5, Chiefs are +2. Go figure there. And then the Broncos, they are at -4. But no team is even close to what the Las Vegas Raiders have to deal with. And I know I've already seen some people arguing about this on social media. Some people are going to argue the fact that, the Raiders got to travel because they're on the West Coast. Come on, guys. It's 2025. Every team has to travel in the year 2025. Let's go to the final thing on today's show. And I wanted to talk about the playoff teams and how it is in comparison over the past 2 seasons in terms of the net rest. So in 2024, out of the 14 teams that ended up making the playoffs, 8 out of those 14, and 2023, 8 out of those 14 had either a 0 or a plus net rest day. So that means 6 out of the 14 for you math wizards out there had a negative rest day. There have been situations that teams have made the playoffs when having negative rest days, especially the amount that the Raiders have had. Great example is a few years ago, the Chiefs and the 49ers had the biggest negative margin of rest games. I'll also say that the 49ers and Chiefs are a little bit more proven than a Las Vegas Raiders squad. I wanted to bring all this up, though, because I continuously think that John Spytek and Pete Carroll are doing a phenomenal job, and I want to be able to give them credit because I do think that this regime deserves credit, and I don't know if they knew this was going to happen. I don't know if they were looking into their crystal balls, but Spytek and Pete Carroll always show me this offseason that they are always thinking one step ahead. So the reason why that I think this is because when you have a disadvantage for net rest, and that's what it is, 19 less days of rest the Raiders are going to have than all of their opponents. What's really critical in that, and Warren Sharp is like pounds on the table on an article that he released, if you're at a disadvantage, one of the most important things is obviously staying healthy. That's random. Yeah, you need to have a good medical staff. Yeah, you got to have a team that's in good shape. And having the Raiders, I think, already working out in May, hopefully is the reason why they're doing that. But then also having depth and having quality depth. Last year, the Raiders didn't have good quality depth, and they had a lot of injuries, and it showed on product on the field of why we were so bad. We were also bad for a lot of other reasons, but I think for the Raiders, we were hoping during free agency this team would go out and sign big name here, big name here, big name here, right? Nate Hobbs, Robert Spillane. These were all players, Trevon Merrick, that we wanted to bring back, but the Raiders knew that they needed to add quality depth, and that's what they did. In the draft, they added quality depth in free agency, and now seeing that we are minus 19, it's a little thing, but it's always about the little things, which I think add up to the big thing when you're trying to make the playoffs, when you're trying to win a Super Bowl. Every single team in the NFL is talented. It's when you see that big of a disadvantage, though, sometimes you got to do that extra 1%, like Max Crosby always says, and I think Pete Carroll and John Spytek have been doing that extra 1% all season long. Before I get out of here, reminder that y'all can give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365.